After these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. In a single day death, mourning, and famine sweep through the land, leaving destruction in their wake. Babylon's proud towers are engulfed in flames, and the scene shows the overwhelming strength of God's judgment as everything is reduced to ash. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. The kings of the earth stand at a distance, watching in horror as Babylon burns. Their faces are filled with grief and despair as they lament the loss of their wealth and power. The smoke from the city's destruction rises high into the sky, darkening the horizon, while the kings weep and wring their hands in sorrow, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. The kings continue to stand at a distance, too fearful to approach the city, as it is consumed by torment and fire. They cry out, mourning the sudden and swift destruction of the once mighty city, lamenting how quickly Babylon's judgment has come upon her. Their voices echo across the burning ruins. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. Merchants who once thrived by trading with Babylon now sit on the ground, their faces in their hands, weeping. Their ships and carts filled with precious goods sit idle, as there is no one left to buy their wares. The great marketplace of the city lies in ruins, with shattered crates of jewels, spices, and fine fabrics scattered amidst the ashes. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet, and all thyine wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass and iron and marble, and cinnamon and odors, and ointments and frankincense, and wine and oil and fine flour, and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. A sprawling marketplace filled with luxurious goods, gold, silver, jewels, fine fabrics and exotic spices, now lies abandoned. Merchants weep over their unsold treasures, which are scattered across the ground. Among the riches are symbols of the darker side of Babylon's trade, including slaves and the souls of men, now lost in the city's destruction. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Revelation 18:14. The merchants and rulers of the earth gaze upon the fallen city, realizing that all the riches, delicacies, and luxuries they once craved have vanished. The scene emphasizes the emptiness and futility of their lust for wealth, as everything they held dear is now gone, never to be regained. Revelation 18:15. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Revelation 18:16. And saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. The merchants, once wealthy from their dealings with Babylon, now stand afar, watching in fear as the city burns. Their faces are filled with grief as they wail and lament the loss of their fortunes. The smoke of Babylon's torment fills the sky, and the merchants can only watch in helpless sorrow. Revelation 18:17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. Revelation 18:18. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Sailors and shipmasters stand on the decks of their ships, far from the burning city. They watch as Babylon, the source of their wealth, crumbles into the sea of fire. The ships, once laden with goods, now stand idle as they realize that their riches have vanished in a single hour. Revelation 18:19. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. The sailors and merchants throw dust on their heads as a sign of mourning, weeping and wailing over the destruction of Babylon. They cry out in disbelief at how quickly the great city which made them rich has been laid to waste. The scene is filled with sorrow as they mourn their lost fortunes. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth.